Okay, let me read you what John Terry has tweeted. So he says, I hate seeing us get beat. Southampton were very good, but we look very unbalanced at the minute. I can't wait for the window to close and get our squad settled and team settled and formation settled as well. We do miss Reece James so much when he doesn't play. 22 years old and a future captain, in my opinion. How unbalanced do they look for you, Gabs?
Last season, Laura and Ali, I said about Chelsea that Thomas Tuchel's lucky to keep his job, and everyone hammered me for it, saying he's won the Champions League, he's got to finals, but they're boring to watch. When I watch Chelsea, like I watched them against Leeds, I watched them last night, and they don't entertain me. Jorginho as well in midfield can't run anymore. It's okay being good on the ball, but you need to be able to run in midfield now. Havertz looked a shadow of the player he was a couple of seasons ago, and they're relying on Sterling. I thought Sterling was outstanding last night. But JT's right. Reece James, when he doesn't play, I mean, they really do miss him on that right-hand side. Cucurella doesn't look great. £60 million signing when you've got Chilwell sitting on the bench. So for me, Chelsea have got problems. And what are they going to do? The last day now, go and spend another 100 million. I mean, the money he spent, Thomas Tuchel, for me, he's under massive pressure because Chelsea shouldn't be looking at top four. They should be looking at winning Premier League titles, what they're used to. And this season, they've got a great chance of finishing fifth.
So they've spent £177 million in this window so far. And last night, after John Terry tweeted that, Gary Neville then replied and said, your man Todd Woodward, I imagine Todd Bowley / Ed Woodward is what he's getting at there, needs to stop wandering around like a kid in a sweet shop. Someone then replied to that, and then he said, it's just a scattergun and unsustainable. I doubt this approach will go well. Is it a scattergun approach for you? Is it unsustainable, the signings that they've made?
I just think some of them are being wild. I mean, I look at Cucurella, and you've got to credit Man City for thinking, you know what, he's we're 40 million worth sort of player, 60 million, and Ben Chilwell's a better player. Koulibaly will be a top defender in the Premier League. Maybe he's taken a bit of time to get used to the Premier League, but I don't know, it just seems a bit wild. But
did they need to do that with Ben in and out with injury?
Yeah, bring in maybe another left back, but a £60 million one who's probably going to be second choice when Chilwell gets going. I know they had it before, didn't they, Wainbridge and Ashley Cole, but I just think that money could have been used somewhere else, and he doesn't look great at the moment for Chelsea.
What do you think, Ali? Because in their defence, Fofana is going to be coming in, who I personally think is going to be a great signing, even if it is expensive. They didn't have Reece James last night because he was ill, and N'Golo Kante's injured. Conor Gallagher was suspended. Is there a defence for what we're saying here?
I actually think they'll be better in the three. If they sign Fofana, I think they'll be better in the three. I agree with Gabby. I think Koulibaly will be a good. Definitely will be a good player. He is a good player. Silva's obviously at the wrong end of his career, but he's top class. I just think that the Cucurella signing I think it was a strange one. I really do. I don't think he's any better than Ben Chilwell, and I think that money, it was too much for me what they paid for him, and I also think it probably could have been spent in another area, particularly in a forward area. They look, and I'll say it again, they look lightweight up front. Sterling's different class. And when I say lightweight, I do mean physically to a certain degree, but I mean more in goals than anything else. Havertz, he's kind of gone missing. Ziyech has never really appeared to go missing. And I just think they look lightweight in forward areas. But the big one, and I'll say it again, that they'll really will miss, and it looks as though it's going to take them a wee while to recover from it, and Fofana might be the answer, has got to be Rudiger.
Yeah.
He's a big one, because you know what he's like, Gab.
Yeah.
If you're a centre forward playing against Rudiger, boy, do you know you're in a game? He's on you every minute. He's aggressive.
The ball comes into you. You're getting thrown on the floor.
Absolutely.
Physical. He's what I call a centre half who wins his duels when the ball comes into him. But we'll talk about that later. But for me, Ali, I feel that Thomas Tuchel, he's got to be under pressure. Chelsea are used to winning Premier League titles. Now they're going to be this season, for me, looking at a fight for top four. Yeah. Because Arsenal are looking very good. Spurs are looking very good. So could it be a case of Chelsea finishing fifth this season? That's unacceptable with the amount of money they've spent. Mm-hmm. And previous owner of Chelsea would have sacked him, for me, by now, for last season's Premier League finish.
What, Tuchel?
100%.
Really?
The amount of points they finished behind Manchester City and Liverpool, and this season it's looking like it's going to go the same way.
Well, the one thing I'd agree with you, the last owner was brilliant for Chelsea, but you're right, he was ruthless. I mean,
Ruthless.
But wasn't part of what was going on behind the scenes last season a big factor?
No.
Do you not think
Players
that will
are
affect the
players.
team?
You just go and play football. Like, yes, what's going on with the owner, that'll affect maybe people that work at the club. But when you go on over that white line, you play football. Do you know what I mean? You don't think of that.
But it's coming from your boss, Thomas Tuchel, who's having to fight on all fronts, answer the questions to the media, deal with all of that stuff. Things
but
changing,
that's his job.
plans changing.
His job at that particular time. I get what both you're saying.
Was it made harder though by what was going on?
I don't think it helped. Absolutely don't think it helped. But Thomas Tuchel's job at that time is take the pressure on himself and take completely, if he can, take it away from the players and let the players do what they're supposed to do and go out and play and get points. If he can, I know there was a lot of madness, an awful lot of madness, a lot of uncertainty going around, and it absolutely wasn't ideal. But that's where Thomas Tuchel's job effectively is to take most of that pressure away from his team, because it's a team effectively that obviously the supporters want to go and watch.
Top four's not enough for Chelsea, Ali. You know what Chelsea have been like since 2003-04, like fighting for titles. They can't be finishing fourth, and that's a good season. You know, they need to be closer to Liverpool and Manchester City.
Their next three games, guys: West Ham at home, then Zagreb away, and then Fulham at home. So they've got a couple of London derbies in there in the Premier League, which could be quite tough, especially the way that Fulham are playing at the moment. It's not just Fulham, is it? Fulham are sixth in the table. Also, you were talking about that focal point. He was asked a couple of questions about that. Do they need a striker? Do they need to bring someone in? Aubameyang, who we heard earlier on, has it gone a little bit quiet? I was looking at Fabrizio Romano's tweets about him actually, and it's saying it's not necessarily over yet, but we'll find out what happens with that and whether or not they're going to get their man, whether or not there's still interest, what's going on there. 7 points from 5 games and a London derby this weekend. 03717 223344. Chelsea fans, are you worried? Do you agree with these guys in the studio this morning? What do you think they need? Have they spent in the right places as well, or do you feel like what Gary Neville was saying, has it been a bit of a scattergun approach? Is there much thought behind it? Does there need to be more structure behind that?
talkSPORT Breakfast with Laura Woods, Monday to Wednesday mornings 6 till 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.